This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Joseph Parker here in Saudi Arabia. Joe, fresh off a flight, straight to doing media. How you doing? How you feeling?
To be honest, I'm pretty good. I got a little bit of sleep on the plane, and it's nice to be here. Like, I'm buzzing to be here to witness the fights tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds. And it's going to be it's a historical event.
Before we come on to yourself, I'd like to just quickly touch on with yourself. Let's talk about why we're here. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. You're firmly in that camp. You know Tyson as well as anybody. How tough of a task is at hand here?
It's a tough task. Alexander Usyk is not, listen, it's not a pushover an easy fight. He's a champion of the world, a unified champion of the world. So he's both guys. The fight was meant to happen a while ago, and it got pushed out. Both guys have had more time to prepare, and they're both going to come into this fight ready to rock and roll. I think with Tyson, though, he's looking in great shape, and I feel like he's, being the big man, he's going to use his height and his reach to his advantage, and he's going to, however he starts the fight, that's what's going to, whoever starts the fight and sort of owns in the beginning is going to set the tone for the fight.
That's going to be my next question, Joe. You say those initial rounds within the fight, whoever's able to kind of be the more successful in those opening rounds, do you think are going to basically go on to
Yeah.
control the
I
fight?
feel like after 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 rounds, then you'll sort of see who's going to be more dominant in the fight and who's the more confident.
They're both obviously extremely skilled, different skill sets at that. But when I ask people about this fight, if they're struggling to pick, they end up kind of saying that age-old saying of a good big one beats a good little one.
Yeah,
Is it as simple
it's
as that?
it's that as a saying, like a good big one always beats a good small one, but you just don't know. Like, there's when they both come together to fight, the boxing IQ that they both have is massive, and it's just gonna see who's, it's one of those fights where there's a lot of people favoring Tyson, but also a lot of people favoring Usyk. So it's sort of, is it a 50-50? A lot of people are saying it's a 50-50, but I obviously edged towards Tyson, and seeing him and how he's trained and how he's transformed his body, and losing the weight, and I feel like he's going to be faster, and he's got that. He always finds a way to win.
There's been a lot of talk in the build-up on the on the Fury side about Alexander, about his body. Do you think that's a weakness of Alexander Usyk, his body? And if you could
Well,
take a shot?
listen, I mean, all fighters, if you get hit in the body, it's going to be sore, and you might go down. But how many fights has he had, and no one was able to, obviously Dubois caught him with a good shot, and questionable whether it was low or not, and he went down with that. But he's had so many fights where, it could have been a weakness, or people, could have tried to hit the body, but they haven't really succeeded.
And then with Tyson, obviously you've got the cut just above his eye. How do you think he's going to approach this fight and being mindful of that? Do you think it's somewhat altered his tactics at all just to try and ensure Usyk can't target it? Because obviously with how precise and accurate Alexander Usyk is, you
Yeah.
imagine he's going to be looking to try and make that uncomfortable and try and get it to split open.
Yeah, Usyk is very accurate and precise with his punches, and he throws a lot of punches, combinations. With Tyson, I feel like he's gotten the right people to look at it and make sure that it's not an issue going into this fight. So I don't think it's changed his way of training, and I just feel like he's entering this fight with full confidence, as you can see all week,
Do you,
both guys.
do you agree Alexander Usyk's the toughest test of his career so far?
I feel like, yeah, Alexander Usyk will be the toughest test because of his background and what he presents. And he's a very tricky fighter himself. He's got phenomenal footwork, and he punches from all different angles. So you just don't really know what to expect, and you're not sure. But I'm sure Tyson's, you know, trained and brought in the sparring partners necessary to prepare the best he can.
A lot of people are changing their opinions on this fight, Joe. Unless obviously you're involved in the camp, you're obviously going to have certain allegiances you're going to commit to. You've backed Tyson. How does he go about defeating Alexander Usyk?
Uh, when the fight starts, Tyson, my opinion is that he'll come out and set the tone, and you know, sort of own the ring, and he'll push him around or push him back, and I feel like he'll slow him down, and then he'll stop him towards the end of the later rounds.
Just coming on to yourself, Joe. It's obviously been what couple months now, maybe 2.5 months since that terrific win once again over Zhang. How would you reflect on that?
It was a good win. and we prepared very well for that fight. Zhang is a beast, and he possessed a lot of power. So I was very happy with my conditioning. That I was able to get up after knockdowns and 2 good wins now, and I feel like I'm making great progress in my career again. And I've found what works for me, the formula. Andy Lee and George Lockhart, and we're putting in good work now. I'm in New Zealand. Well, I'm here in Saudi at the moment, but when I'm in New Zealand, we've been working hard and eating right and training and resting and good balance with family time. So I'm loving the journey.
Two fantastic wins back to back. Generally, when people look at the top five in the heavyweight division, they'll say Fury-Usyk either one or two in either order, and then it's either you or AJ in third or fourth at this moment in time. When you look at what's out there, I've seen you call out Anthony Joshua. Another fantastic video of yours. Is that the fight you'd like the most?
To be honest, I will fight anyone. I want to fight anyone who's above me or anyone in the top five, so I can get closer to fighting for a world title. But it's sometimes I want to fight this guy, I want to fight this guy, but they would give me another guy to fight, and I'll take any fight.
I think everybody will agree you will certainly take any fight, Joe. But with the AJ one, is it on your mind to try and avenge that
AJ,
loss?
it'll be nice to avenge those losses to AJ and White and Joyce. But it's just seeing what makes sense and who's available and who wants to fight.
What have you made of AJ's progression under Ben Davison? 2 fights
Oh,
with Colin and Ben.
oh yeah,
Ngannou.
he looked great. Both fights he looked great. He looked powerful. He picked his shots and he got them out of there. So he is. I feel like with the fight that we had back in 2018, we're totally different fighters now, and he's looking very dangerous and very strong.
I saw Andy Ruiz in New York recently. Obviously, he's facing Jarrell Miller in the coming months. But he said that if he comes through that, he wants to try and revisit a fight with yourself. Of interest to you, even though you've already beaten?
It's whoever wants to fight. Let's make it happen. And Ruiz is up against Miller, and that's going to be a tough fight. Ruiz hasn't been as active as he should have, and Miller's coming off a loss, and he wants to look better. He's coming off a loss to Dubai, so I think that's a great matchup.
Just looking at kind of the months ahead, then what's the plan that you'd like to kind of look to? A couple more fights or one more fight? How active?
This
does
year,
this
I'd like to have 2 or 3 fights, but at the moment, I haven't been given any opponents or any dates yet, so I'm just waiting patiently. And while I'm waiting, I'm working away with Georgia in New Zealand. Once we have a fight locked in, I'll travel to Ireland and link up with Andy Lee, and we'll make a plan moving forward. Whoever the fighter is, we'll be up against.
Just before we wrap this up, Joe, obviously Deontay Wilder and Zhang are both fighting each other, your two most recent opponents. What's your take on it?
Oh, both guys have potential to knock each other out. Zhang is dangerous in the first half of the fight. I feel like from that fight, Zhang now is working on his conditioning, and Wilder, I think, will be important for him to utilize his footwork and place Zhang wherever he wants to land his big shots.
Who are you picking?
I would have to go with Wilder. I feel like Wilder, after that loss, I think both guys have stepped up their training and their focus and their motivation, but I feel like Wilder will edge this fight. I think, with Zhang, and when his activity lessens as the fight goes on, he'll be like a sitting target,
Final one from me, Joe. Obviously, there was a rematch clause there for the Zhang fight because he lost and he could have activated it. Instead, he's fighting Wilder now. Do you know how where things sit with that? Is it still viable? Is it not viable anymore because he's taking his fight?
To be honest, I'm not sure what his contract says. My one said there was a rematch clause, so there could be a possibility I could still have a fight with Zhang. So that's still there. But we'll see how it all unfolds.
Joe, it's a pleasure to catch up with you. Obviously, good luck with yourself and the team on Saturday night, and enjoy what is to come. Thank you for speaking to me.
Thank you very much.